Hey, welcome back to Matt again. My name is Rampage, and this is basically my story on getting a refund for my ACCC GTX 970 Strix Edition. Now, as you can see here, I've got all the papers everywhere, and this story starts way back in March 2nd. Now, on the 2nd of March, I went into MSY, the retailer in which I bought the product from, and was like, okay, I want a refund for this graphics card because, you know, the specs were different, the memory allocation wasn't even told to consumers, so I'm entitled to a refund based on the ACCC legislation. So I'm going to quickly read that portion of the legislation if I can find it. Here we go. Alright. You can ask for a replacement or refund if the problem is major. Now, what is a major problem? But anyway, whatever. What is a major problem? A product or good has a major problem when it has a problem that would have stopped someone from buying it if they'd known about it, which both the memory and the specs would have because they lied to me. It is unsafe. That doesn't apply. It is significantly different from the sample or description. In this case, yes. It doesn't do what the business said it would or what you asked for and can't easily be fixed. Well, the business said it would have one thing, but ended up having slightly less ROPs, I think it was, as well as a lower L2 cache, which in turn had performance issues. So because of that, I wanted a refund, and I stated that. But behind the counter, behind the customer service counter, they had some random bloke that had no idea what I was talking about, didn't even know anything about the issue, and didn't really know how to help me. So it was like, okay, we can give you an RMA slip that states, something about memory being weird and the specs being different. I was like, yeah, okay, cool. I waited 3 days. They called me up saying that, sorry, we can't give you a refund because NVIDIA haven't given us a recall yet, or we talked to ACCC and they don't want to deal with it. Or the issue has something to do, I don't know, they started spinning it into some bullshit saying that, specs can change and all this sort of stuff. The manufacturers can always change the specs. Mate, if the specs are given, they can't just change overnight. It's not like a graphics card is supposed to have one set of ROPs, but then, in a firmware update, it's going to get more. That's not how this shit works. And I don't know why the fuck you tried to spin that to me, because I'm not stupid. I know that the graphics card specs can't change that easily. Sure, memory speed and clock speed, voltage, sure. But not hardware. If you at MSY aren't even employing people that know what they're talking about, or even teaching these people anything, then what the fuck are you doing? Right? So it's like, alright, I'll accept this. Whatever. He basically stated, alright, now we could keep it here, the graphics card, we could keep it here until we talk to ASUS or NVIDIA and see what we can do from that. And I was like, well, no, I'm not going to keep my graphics card there any longer if you're not even going to think about giving me a refund. So I'm going to come in and get it now. So I did. And I was like, alright, fuck you guys, since you're actually avoiding the ACCC legislation. I have two options. I can contact the Ombudsman, or I can contact Consumer Affairs. I told them this on their Facebook page. And I also was like, fuck it, I'm going to email you. I'm going to email the Adelaide store. I'm also going to, which that's the place I bought it from, I'm also going to email the website. They are two separate emails. So I was like, alright, I'll see which one I get an email from. The Adelaide store did not contact me at all. Not even a peep. Not even, we received your email. Okay, can you come into the store? Or we're going to call you at this date about it. Nothing. I got nothing. In the next 2 to 3 days, so this was currently, so at about Thursday, I got the call. right, saying that they can't give me a refund. And then on that day, I emailed them stating that, your practice of this shit is illegal and I'm entitled to a refund. The specs were different. The memory allocation was not projected to the consumer. Therefore, it was found out later that this was actually an issue. Now, regardless of what NVIDIA have come out and said, I've tested this shit. And I have noticed an issue. One, with Shadow of Mordor, I can't even play that game on my current GTX 770, right? But when I played it on my 970, I noticed that once it gets to like 3.3 to 3.6 gigabytes, it starts to stutter. And as soon as it hits that 3.5 gig margin, it freezes for a millisecond. And that is horrible. Why the fuck would I even want to deal with that shit? Now, that last portion of 500 megabytes or 512 megabytes of VRAM is stated at around 25 to 30 gigabytes per second, all the way up to 80 gigabytes per second. Whereas the main portion, the other 3.5 gigs, is anywhere from 220 gigabytes per second all the way up to 500 gigabytes per second, depending on the test. So yeah, that is kind of an issue. So, alright, I'll see which one I get a response from. I contacted ASUS as well. They basically stated, this is the design, this is how it works. I was like, well, that's not really what I want to know because you guys never actually said this, but can you confirm that I can get a refund from the retailer, or can you confirm that you would authorize a refund via the retailer? They basically stated the same thing, and at the end of it, they said, go to your retailer. I was like, alright, fuck you then. I know that I can't go to the manufacturer to demand a refund or replacement. Let me just quickly read out that bit of legislation. I'll find it somewhere. Here we go. Alright, approaching the retailer or manufacturer. The retailer who sold you the product or service cannot refuse to help you by sending you to the manufacturer or importer. You can approach the manufacturer or importer directly, however you will only be entitled to recover costs from them, which include an amount for reduction in the product's value, and in some cases compensation for damages and losses. You cannot demand a repair, replacement, or refund from the manufacturer. So the fact that originally MSY was like, we have to talk to a NVIDIA or ASUS about this issue, I don't really care. That's not my problem. You're the retailer. That's your problem, not mine. You're supposed to deal with ASUS or the manufacturers themselves. Unless I want an RMA, which is a return to manufacturer, then sure. It goes from me to you to send off to the manufacturer, and then I deal with the manufacturer. But that's not the case here. This is a refund at a retail store. Therefore, I don't give a fuck. I've got nothing to do with NVIDIA or ASUS or any other vendor for that matter. So that's your side. That's you're supposed to deal with that shit. I can't demand a refund or anything from those guys. So, yeah. Basically, after that, it was Tuesday, the following Tuesday, which was the 10th of March, that I got a phone call stating that, oh, we could refund you now. I was like, okay, I'll accept that. I'm coming to the store. But the guy on the phone started to talk about the manufacturer and NVIDIA. I'm just like, I don't really care. I'm just going to come in and get my refund. And this is when I came in with everything. I came in with a printout of the fucking legislation, fucking receipt again, their previous RMA form, fucking my other receipt, everything. Fucking everything, right? And they did end up giving me a refund, but they weren't going to give me anything in return. They weren't going to give me a copy of this. This is the copy that I asked for, which states refund authorized, signature and date 11th of March. But they weren't going to give me shit. They weren't going to give me proof of an actual refund was accepted. So as soon as I walked out of that store, with them holding my graphics card, I could come back that very second and say, oh, can I have proof of you giving me a refund? They could go, I don't know what you're talking about. And have a free fucking graphics card that they could send off to the manufacturer, get an RMA, and replaced with a fucking brand new one. So, yeah, that's... What the fuck? That has to be illegal somewhere. Like, they can't do that. If you're going to give me a refund, I have to have some physical fucking proof that I am actually entitled to get a refund, or even some kind of fucking form. So, the fact that they weren't going to give me a copy of the RMA slip that actually says authorized refund, I had to ask for it. The guy at the fucking counter was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you want me to do, essentially. You're just looking at me like a dumb fuck. Like, get the fuck out of my store. Like, this is pathetic. You're an Australian retailer. I don't give a fuck whether you're Chinese, Asian, of some sort. I don't care. You're still supposed to abide by the Australian consumer law. Do it. Fucking hell. Now, after this refund was authorized and I got this back, it was not until the 16th of March that I actually received the e-check. Now, they told me it was going to take anywhere from 2 to 3 days. So, yeah, 5 days. What the fuck, mate? 5 days for them to be like, oh, you've been, you're getting money back by an e-check. That e-check stated $556.27 with a fee amount of $14.76 AUD, which brought the net value down to $541.51. Now you might be saying, why the fuck are you bitching about it? You're getting more money back than you actually paid for. Well, that's not entirely true. Now, I am entitled, or what they said that I was entitled to, a full refund, which a full refund implies that I would get all the cost back. All the cost, including postage, which is what they've done. $556 is what I paid for. That is how much I paid for that graphics card plus postage. So if they're going to give me all that back, but then take a portion of that, or like, I don't know who gets that money. Is it PayPal? Is it MSY? Is it because they gave me an e-check? You know, any normal retailer, apart from the good guys for some fucking reason, will give you the money back on the spot. Regardless, they would ask you, was it a credit card or debit card? Regardless of whether it was PayPal. Because PayPal, I still use my debit card. So you can still refund me back to my debit card, you fucking idiot. Every retailer gives you that refund on the spot. Right then and there. So the fact that I have waited so fucking long to get this refund, I still don't even have that money in my account, right? I transferred it from PayPal to my bank account yesterday. It is now the 20th of March. So it has taken a total of over 11 days for me to get that refund back into my account. That is completely unacceptable. Regardless of whether I used PayPal as the method, has nothing to do with it. Because they could authorize an instant refund, they just chose not to. So for me, MSY is dead to me. I'll never go back there for any product. I still have to go back for an RMA or a replacement for my RM850 power supply or Corsair RM850 power supply because it overheats for no fucking reason. The fan doesn't work, you know? So I'm going to have to deal with this bullshit again. But I just can't be fucked taking my power supply apart, you know? Like getting all the cables out, all that shit, just to be told that I can't get a refund again and deal with all this garbage. You know? Like, this is completely unacceptable, and the ACCC should be acknowledged. You know, they should know about their practices. at MSY. And the fact that nobody gives a fuck, nobody's speaking up about it, or they are on their Facebook page, but nowhere else. Why? This is illegal. They are illegally conducting bullshittery over at MSY, and no one gives a flying fuck. I don't know, I can't accept that. I can't accept that from any form of government agency or anything. I don't know, guys, but anyway, yeah, that's my story for getting a refund for the GTX 970. How long it's taken to get my refund. Yeah, it's been quite the bitch. But yeah, I'm gonna leave now. Peace out.